Hi guys, I'm Gasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times to discuss books, specifically thrillers and horror books. So today we're going to be taking a look at the new book releases for the month of May.
It's coffee time.
So as always, we are here to talk about some thrillers and some horror books that are going to be released in May. This list is quite big, but of course it is not everything that is going to be published in the month of May. These are some that have caught my attention or that I thought that you guys might find interesting. So as always, I will be naming them by publication date. And let's see what May has for us. Your body is not your body, and I think this is one of the most interesting releases for the month of May. These are over 30 creators that are transgender, non-conforming, and are bringing their weird tales to life, and it is just so unique to be able to read horror from their different perspectives and experiences in life. And this is definitely one that I really want to get to. The stories, I think they're all fairly short because we have here over 30. Yeah, so if you're looking for something a little bit different to support transgender and non-conforming authors, this is one that you need to get. The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. It is a historical horror Gothic novel, and it says it's something between Mexican Gothic and Rebecca, so you kind of get what vibes the book has. This book is set in Mexico during the War of Independence, which I already think is a really interesting setting. Our main character, Beatriz, is struggling a little bit in life because her father has been executed, and she meets this handsome, wealthy guy, and she kind of ignores all the rumors about him and his previous wife, and she's only thinking, you know, that at least she's going to be able to live in a proper hacienda. You know, it's kind of like a mansion, and when she moves there, of course things are not going to go as planned. It is a story, you know, as a Gothic story, it's about a hunting, it's probably about ghosts from the past, family secrets. That's what I'm expecting from this. Monsters in the Mist by Juliana Brandt, and this is a middle grade horror, and I like this book a lot because it takes place also in kind of like a deserted island with a lighthouse, and I absolutely love those kind of settings. Our main character moves into this lighthouse on an island that cannot be found on any maps, which is already kind of shady. And on top of that, the people that visit this island tend to never come back. So where do these people go? What's going on in this island? Why is nowhere to be found in the maps? I guess we'll have to figure it out, but I really like settings like this. Orphans of Blaze, Tales of Addiction Horror, and this is an anthology of short horror stories that features many well-known names in the horror community. We have George Maliman, we have Kellen Butterberg, we have Kathy Koja, among others. The Exorcist House by Nick Roberts, which is one of the ones that I'm most excited about because we are in the 90s and we have a psychologist that buys this like rural house and moves in there with his wife and his daughter, and when they move in there, they make a discovery, which is basically there is some sort of room in the basement that it's full of crucifixes, and the legend says, or you know, the talk in town is that the family that used to live there before was known for performing exorcisms. So I'm like, yes please. At least it sounds like a little bit, you know, it's a typical start in a horror movie, horror story. You know, a family moves into a new home and they discover something from the people that used to live there before them. But I like the fact that it's not like they just move and the daughter is possessed right away. I don't know if she's gonna get possessed or not, but I love the fact that they discover a room full of crucifixes, pointing out maybe at the practices that the previous family did. So I don't know, it just sounds really intriguing to me. Your Mind is a Terrible Thing by Hailey Piper, and this is horror with LGBTQ plus characters. She is an author that is getting, you know, a lot of hype in the horror community, and it is completely deserved, and I'm really excited about her new novella as well. All I know is that it takes place on a starship and some sort of presence, some sort of monster or something that enters the ship, so I'm expecting a little bit of horror sci-fi here, and I'm all for it. All These Subtle Deceits by C.S. Humble. And this is a story about a woman, Lauren, that escapes a toxic relationship and she's hoping for a new beginning, and she goes out one night and she has some sort of like a supernatural encounter, but it's kind of more of an attack, and she is trying to recover from that when she decides to contact a specialist that knows specifically about the supernatural. Friend of the Devil by Stephen Lloyd, and this is a horror thriller that features a veteran from war that is now running an insurance business. We are in the 80s and he's being sent to this boarding school because apparently somebody has stolen a manuscript, and when he gets there, things start to escalate because some of the students start to disappear. Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak, and this is a horror mystery thriller, and we follow Mallory that has just recovered from substance abuse, and she's really happy that she got a job as a nanny for a really wealthy family, and all she has to do is take care of their 5-year-old kid, and basically gets to enjoy their house, their pool and everything, and all is great, all is fun and games until she sees in the woods a man dragging what seems to be the dead body of a woman. And yeah, obviously that was not in the job description. So what is happening, and did this guy kill this woman? We'll have to find out. Black Tide by Casey Jones. This is a horror science fiction that it is really character driven, and I've seen a lot of people really excited about these release, including myself. It said it's kind of a mix between Cujo and A Quiet Place, so do with that information what you may. It sounds like a really strange but appealing comparison, and also something between these two. It just sounds really intriguing, so we shall see. But all I know is that something happens in the world and it changes and brings monsters and nightmares to the world after a meteor shower that probably goes wrong. So I'm really excited about this one. I know it's another apocalyptic scenario, but you know, I'm still a sucker for those. Howls from the Dark Ages, edited by P.L. Macmillan, and this is going to be really interesting because it is tales taken from that period of time, from the Dark Ages, but they're kind of brought to life now with horror elements added to it. Not that those times were not horrific, and there are 18 different tales in this one, so I feel like this is going to be perfect for people that are looking for a different type of tales, because I myself have never really read many Dark Ages or anything around that era in horror, so I feel like these are going to be really interesting to discover. The Cherry Robbers by Sarai Walker, and this is another historical horror gothic story. So we have another one, and this one takes place in different timelines. In one of those timelines, we are in Mexico, in New Mexico in 2017, and we follow an artist that she just wants to avoid people knowing who she really is, so she keeps her identity private. She uses a nickname. She doesn't do anything regarding press or anything like that because she's trying just to hide her past, and all she wants to do is be an artist. And at the same time, we follow a story in Connecticut in 1950 about a Victorian haunted house and the girls living in it. So I'm like, this sounds cool. You guys know I'm all for this dual timelines, so maybe this is one that I really need to get. Sir Back, Sir Baines by Anthony and Gebretson, and this is following the story of a woman that decides to take a trip to Scotland to kind of try to have some time for herself when she gets involved in something a little bit more dangerous. This is a folklore horror story and something that she finds at a loch in Scotland. So if you love this type of setting, this is going to be perfect for you. This is a really spooky debut novella that is supposed to make you question what it means to be human. Just Like Mother by Anne Hetzel is one of the ones that I'm most excited about, because apart from this being a horror thriller, it has been also marked as cult books, and I love any story about cults. Not like I did it on purpose, but it's very quite fitting my long sleeve right now. So this story follows a girl that has escaped a cult where she was raised in and now has to start her life away from the cult. So I'm really interested to figure out what type of cult this is, what happened when she was there, when she was, you know, growing up there. And it's also so interesting to see how the characters have an understanding of the real world once they get out of such cults. Another one that I'm really excited about is The Har, a horror novel by David Sodergren. If you've been following me for a little bit, you know that I've absolutely loved every single book by him that I have read so far. So go and support him, because also he is a self-published author and can need all the help that you guys can provide. And I can assure you, if you're looking for good horror, a lot of blood and gore, that's mostly what you're gonna get from him. So he is not known for atmosphere and spookiness. It is mostly really full on blood and horror. So if you love that, please check him out. Not sponsored. I just really honestly like his books. This is based on the Scottish fishing village of Witch Haven, and it does sound a little bit like the fog horror. So I'm really excited to see if this time we're gonna get blood and guts, or if it's gonna be more atmospheric, kind of creepy, because I have not read anything by him in that kind of direction. So I'll be really intrigued. So we are in this village and they are planning to evict the people that live in this fishing village, and then something happens one day and there is a lot of heavy fog coming from the ocean that involves the village. So we shall see what horrors that brings us. Helpmeet by Nabian Ruthnam, and this is based on the 1900s, and it is a story about a wife called Louise that is trying to get help for her really ill husband, and she's going to realize that perhaps his affliction is not an illness per se that can be cured, but maybe he's going through more of a transformation. That's all I know. That's all the synopsis really tell us. So it is extremely intriguing to me. Is he going to mutate into another being, into a monster? What's happening? I don't know. It sounds intriguing because the plot, the synopsis that we have, doesn't really, spoil too much. Hide by Kirsten White is a horror thriller, and I have read a couple of things by her. She's done mostly horror fantasy YA, so I'm really intrigued about this specific new release because it has been pitched for fans of Squid Game. And Squid Game is a show that came out on Netflix that took everybody by storm last year. I absolutely loved it. I binged it. I really recommend it. So I'm really intrigued to see, because I love anything that has to do with a game in which the participants might be getting a little more than what they bargained for. The price here is, of course, money. Money is what everybody would be willing to risk their lives for, sad but true. And this is about people having to hide for a whole week at an abandoned amusement park. I mean, just picture that. Abandoned amusement park in a game of hide and seek. Count me out for that. This is definitely one that I need to check out as soon as it comes out, because it just sounds too good to me. It's just checking all my boxes at the moment. So yeah, I'm really intrigued to see what's gonna happen. And the last thing that's coming out in the month of May that I thought would be really interesting, it's actually a re-release, or the first time that it's being printed in English. It's been translated from the Italian, and it is the works of a well-known Italian writer. And let me read the title for you because it's a little bit long and complicated, so bear with me. It is The Transgressionists and Other Disquieting Works, 5 Tales of Weird Fiction by Giorgio De Maria. So these are basically his works. I believe that there is a novella, some short horror stories, and it is the first time that you guys have access to it, me included, because I also do not read Italian. There's a lot of things that I do understand, especially if I see it written, because it is a little bit similar to Spanish, but I would also not be able to read his works in the original language. So if you love Italian horror, if you're looking for different weird tales, this has to be a must for you. And if this did not sell it for you, it has also been compared to Black Mirror. So if you love that type of weird fiction, a little bit more close to reality sometimes that we would love to, then this one, like I said, might be for you. Alright guys, so these are some of the titles that are coming out in the month of May that are either thrillers or horrors, or horror thriller or horror sci-fi. So I hope that you're excited for the new releases. There's definitely a couple here that I'm gonna have to grab the moment that they are released. Let me know down below what you thought about the list. Let me know which ones are in auto buy for you, and if there's anything else coming out in the month of May that I missed mentioning in this video, let me know down below as well. Thanks so much for watching, you guys, and I'll see you all in our next coffee time. Bye.